They used to be everywhere, on billboards, in your neighbor's driveway, and tearing through rally stages like legends. But now, you might not even notice them on the road. Mitsubishi, once a powerhouse of performance and affordability, is disappearing in real time. And if you're thinking about buying one, hold that thought. Chrysler, a legacy stuck in reverse. Luxury, comfort, and American heritage. These are the pillars Chrysler once stood on. At its peak, the brand was synonymous with grand touring sedans, cutting-edge design, and a prestige that rivaled the best in Detroit. But today, that appeal has withered away. Chrysler, once a proud symbol of American ingenuity, has become little more than a placeholder brand under the umbrella of Stellantis, a multinational conglomerate that seems more focused on its European and Jeep-based assets than preserving the Chrysler legacy. The lineup has shrunk to just two models: the aging Chrysler 300 sedan and the Chrysler Pacifica minivan. That is it. No crossovers, no electric vehicles, no hybrids with meaningful innovation. In an era where nearly every automaker is reinventing itself, Chrysler has stagnated. It is a brand that feels frozen in time, coasting on reputation without direction. The Pacifica, while well regarded in the minivan segment, is fighting an uphill battle. Minivans in general have become a niche market, with buyers increasingly gravitating toward more stylish crossovers and sport utility vehicles. Despite offering a plug-in hybrid version of the Pacifica, Chrysler has failed to turn it into a true market differentiator. The innovation was there, but the marketing, excitement, and continued development were not. And with no successor to the 300 officially confirmed, the writing is on the wall. Chrysler is not evolving. It is simply enduring. What makes Chrysler's downfall even more disappointing is the fact that the 300 still has a fan base. There are buyers who love the sedan's classic proportions, its wide stance, and the comfort-first driving experience that is now increasingly rare in a world of stiffly tuned crossovers. But a loyal fan base is not enough to keep a brand alive. Sales of the 300 have declined steadily over the past decade, with the model receiving only minor refreshes, while competitors underwent full redesigns, tech overhauls, and drivetrain innovations. The automotive world has moved forward. Chrysler has not. The brand's struggle is not just about product offerings. It is about identity. Chrysler no longer knows what it stands for. Is it a premium brand? A budget luxury option? A minivan brand? A throwback muscle sedan manufacturer? The lack of a cohesive vision has left consumers confused and uninterested. Even Dodge, Chrysler's corporate sibling, has leaned into a strong muscle car persona that, while niche, at least gives the brand a distinct voice in the marketplace. Chrysler has no such clarity. Its advertising is scarce. Its presence at major auto shows is minimal, and its relevance in the minds of younger buyers is practically non-existent. Behind this decline is a deeper issue: neglect. Under Stellantis, Chrysler has been left to fend for itself with virtually no new product pipeline. While Stellantis continues to pour resources into revitalizing European marques like Peugeot and Citroën and doubling down on Jeep and Ram in the American market, Chrysler sits idle. It is not a question of potential. Chrysler has the name recognition. It has the legacy. The longer Chrysler waits to act, the more impossible a comeback becomes. Consumers are not going to wait around for a brand to rediscover itself when there are dozens of other options on the market that offer better technology, better performance, and better resale value. And in the automotive world, perception is everything. Right now, Chrysler is perceived as an old brand with old products for old buyers. That perception is not just a marketing problem. It is a death sentence. Even its dealerships are suffering. Without new inventory, without fresh product excitement, Chrysler showrooms have become ghost towns. Dealers are often forced to push Dodge or Jeep inventory just to stay afloat, while Chrysler models sit untouched. Some dealers have even stopped ordering the 300 altogether, choosing to stock only the Pacifica for buyers specifically looking for minivans. That is not a sustainable business model. That is a brand on life support. What Chrysler needs, urgently, is not just a new model. It needs a complete overhaul of its brand identity. It needs to reintroduce itself to the world with purpose, clarity, and innovation. That might mean going all electric. That might mean turning Chrysler into a luxury-focused rival to Tesla or Lucid. It could even mean returning to its roots with performance sedans and stylish grand tourers. But until that transformation happens, Chrysler will continue to fade, and at this point, it may already be too late. But while Chrysler fades with a whimper, this next brand is crashing out with scandal, broken promises, and a trail of angry drivers. We dug through reports, sales data, and dealer leaks to uncover this. If you want real research, not recycled hype, like and subscribe right now. Nissan. From leaf leader to industry cautionary tale. Once upon a time, Nissan was a force to be reckoned with. The company had cracked the code on mainstream affordability, international dominance, and even early electric vehicle adoption. But fast forward to today, and that once bright future has turned into a cautionary tale. Nissan went from pioneer to punchline in less than 2 decades. While competitors like Tesla, Hyundai, and even Ford pushed the boundaries of electric vehicle design and technology, Nissan stood still. The company that once led the electric revolution became one of its biggest casualties. The decline began quietly, masked behind decent quarterly numbers and fading brand loyalty. Internally, the company was in turmoil. Publicly, Nissan's market share in the United States, once more than 8%, has collapsed to just 4%. In raw numbers, that is a loss of millions of customers and billions of dollars in annual revenue. The company's leadership was spinning, the vision was missing, and the lineup became stale. The very things that once made Nissan a market leader were now dragging it down. Take the Leaf, for example. It should have evolved into a brand-defining juggernaut, but instead of capitalizing on its early success, Nissan let it rot. For over a decade, updates to the Leaf were minimal and uninspired. While rivals were introducing faster charging, longer ranges, and better styling, the Leaf retained its clunky design, limited battery capacity, and bare-bones tech. As Tesla's Model 3 began flying off shelves and Hyundai's Ioniq line earned critical acclaim, Nissan looked embarrassingly outdated. And that was just the electric side of the story. The rest of Nissan's portfolio fared no better. Sedans like the Altima and Sentra were no longer class leaders, once praised for their affordability and reliability. They have become synonymous with rental fleets and outdated technology. Even the company's once popular Rogue crossover, an early success in the compact SUV segment, has been outclassed by offerings from Toyota, Honda, and Mazda. Across every vehicle category, Nissan is lagging behind. But Nissan's problems go deeper than just bad design. Behind the scenes, the company has been plagued by scandal and mismanagement. The arrest of former Chief Executive Officer Carlos Ghosn in the year 2018 on charges of financial misconduct sent shockwaves through the automotive world. His abrupt ousting exposed the deep fractures within the company's leadership and set off a chain reaction of internal instability. Boardroom battles, power vacuums, and inconsistent leadership led to strategic paralysis. And it is not just corporate dysfunction, it is financial desperation. In its home country of Japan, Nissan came dangerously close to bankruptcy. Year-over-year profits fell by a staggering 99% at one point. That is not just a red flag, that is a 5-alarm fire. The company scrambled for solutions, including a proposed merger with Honda. But those talks collapsed quickly, leaving Nissan isolated and vulnerable. Desperate to reverse its fortunes, Nissan turned to its sprawling dealership network in the United States. But rather than a strength, this network became a liability. Nissan operates far more dealerships than consumer demand can justify. That has led to bloated inventory, overstretched franchisees, and a need for constant deep discounting. It is a vicious cycle. The cars do not sell, so Nissan offers incentives. Those incentives kill profit margins and resale value, which in turn damages the brand. Even Nissan's attempts to reboot the brand have missed the mark. The Ariya, its latest electric SUV, was supposed to be a bold step into the future. And while it shows promise on paper, with modern design, competitive range, and decent features, it entered the market late and overpriced. Worse, it landed in an already saturated segment dominated by Tesla, Hyundai, and Kia. By the time Nissan showed up to the party, everyone else had already eaten the cake. Then there's the global problem. In Europe and Asia, Nissan is facing stiff competition from upstart Chinese electric vehicle makers, who are flooding the market with aggressively priced, tech-forward vehicles. In the United States, Toyota, Ford, and General Motors are all plowing billions of dollars into research and development. Nissan? Still playing catch-up. It is not just that they are behind. It is that they do not appear to know where they are going. Still think poor strategy alone is enough to kill a car brand. This next one proves that even style and speed can't save you when trust is gone. Alfa Romeo, Italian flair, American flop. For a moment, it felt like magic. Alfa Romeo's return to the United States market brought with it something most automakers couldn't manufacture: emotion. These were not just cars, they were rolling pieces of sculpture. With their seductive curves, aggressive grilles, and track-ready stances, Alfa Romeos promised more than transportation. They promised passion. But behind the romance was a ticking time bomb. And as it turned out, passion doesn't always pay the bills. While Alfa Romeo dazzled showrooms with its aesthetic flair, it quickly became clear that the ownership experience was more nightmare than fantasy. The very cars that had been hyped for their race-bred DNA began falling apart in everyday use. Reports of mechanical issues piled up, transmission failures, electrical gremlins, suspension problems, and infotainment systems that worked one day and glitched out the next. Consumer reliability rankings consistently placed Alfa Romeo at the bottom of the charts. It was a classic case of overpromise and underdeliver, and in an American market that values reliability just as much as performance, that was a lethal combination. Things only got worse when customers tried to fix the problems. Alfa Romeo's dealer network in the United States was thin, often paired awkwardly with Fiat locations, or tacked onto existing Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram franchises. The result? Long waits for service appointments, parts delays that stretched into weeks or months, and customer service experiences that left buyers furious. Warranty coverage couldn't mask the frustration. In many cities, finding an Alfa-certified technician became a scavenger hunt. Owning one of these cars began to feel less like having an Italian supermodel in your garage, and more like babysitting a diva on a breakdown. Alfa Romeo's initial promise, an Italian sports sedan to rival Bayerische Motorenwerke's 3 Series or Mercedes-Benz's C-Class, fell apart under the weight of unmet expectations. The Giulia Quadrifoglio, which debuted with a twin-turbocharged 6-cylinder engine co-developed with Ferrari, was hailed as a world-class performance car. It had 505 horsepower, a 0 to 60 time under 4 seconds, and styling that made German competitors look dull by comparison. But even that halo model wasn't immune to problems. Owners reported engine misfires, cooling system issues, and drivetrain inconsistencies. And when the most expensive flagship model can't stay out of the shop, it casts a shadow over the entire brand. Stellantis, the multinational automaker formed from the merger of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and Peugeot Société Anonyme, has shown signs that it may not have the appetite to keep Alfa Romeo afloat in the United States much longer. Sales have been stagnant or declining, with fewer than 20,000 units sold across the country in the past year, a number dwarfed by rivals who move that many vehicles in a single month. For perspective, Tesla sells more vehicles in the United States in 1 week than Alfa sells in an entire year. That level of volume simply does not support a sustainable business model, especially when the costs of marketing, distribution, and regulatory compliance in the United States are considered. Even attempts to modernize and electrify have faltered. Alfa Romeo's delayed entry into the electric vehicle space has left it miles behind competitors who are already releasing multiple battery-powered models. The brand has hinted at an upcoming electric lineup, but so far it's all talk and no traction. With players like Tesla, Hyundai, and even Chevrolet rapidly innovating, Alfa Romeo looks like a boutique brand stuck in the past. The luxury car segment is evolving quickly, and customers want more than just sleek design. They want connectivity, advanced driver assistance systems, and bulletproof reliability. Alfa has offered little on these fronts. Then there's the branding crisis. Despite Alfa Romeo's century-old racing heritage and European prestige, most American buyers still see it as a risky unknown. the name lacks the brand equity that German rivals command. And it does not have the nostalgic Americana of Dodge or Ford. It exists in a limbo, not quite luxury, not quite mainstream, and definitely not mass market. This confused positioning has made it hard to market the vehicles effectively, and harder still to convince a skeptical buying public that an Alfa won't become a headache. And if Alfa Romeo is all style with no substance, the next brand shows what happens when a company loses its soul and its sense. Mini, the quirky icon that lost its way. Mini was never about being the fastest. It was never about size, power, or luxury. It was about character. That unmistakable, cheeky personality wrapped in a small, nimble frame. But today, that fun is long gone. The Mini brand, once a symbol of quirkiness and compact charm, has become a bloated, overpriced shell of its former self. Its entire identity has drifted so far off course that many of the very buyers who once loved it now want nothing to do with it. And the reasons for this dramatic fall from grace are as varied as they are avoidable. Let's start with the most glaring change. Size. Mini used to be proud of its compactness. After all, it's in the name. The original models, like the Cooper hardtop, embodied the philosophy of minimalism done right. But somewhere along the way, Mini decided that bigger meant better. The brand began rolling out bulkier models like the Countryman and Clubman, vehicles that pushed the boundaries of what Mini could reasonably mean. Today, some Mini models are nearly as large as mid-size sport utility vehicles, with all the parking challenges, weight penalties, and handling drawbacks that come with it. And buyers noticed. The original appeal of slipping into tight city spaces and whipping around corners with go-kart precision began to fade. Drivers who once delighted in the car's agility now find themselves piloting what feels like a scaled-down crossover vehicle. It's not that Mini couldn't have grown, it's that it grew without direction. Instead of evolving with intention, it mutated with confusion. Then there's the pricing problem. Mini was never meant to be cheap, but it was supposed to be attainable. In the early days of the 2000s, it offered a premium feel and a unique driving experience at a price that felt justified. Today, however, Mini's pricing has spiraled out of sync with its perceived value. Some newer models can cross the $35,000 mark, and that's before adding optional packages. Buyers are increasingly questioning whether a car with cramped rear seats, middling performance, and a quirky brand badge deserves the price tag of a premium German sedan. Worse yet, this pricing strategy comes with compromises. While Mini continues to charge luxury-level prices, many of its vehicles lack the features and refinement that consumers now expect at that level. Touchscreens are smaller than rivals. Interior materials often feel more whimsical than upscale. And while Bayerische Motorenwerke still lends its engineering expertise, Minis often lack the cutting-edge technology or rock-solid reliability of other premium brands. So buyers are left wondering, if it's not truly premium, and it's no longer charmingly compact, then what is Mini? It gets murkier when you look at their electric pivot. Mini was relatively early in offering an all-electric version of the Cooper, but its rollout was botched. The range was underwhelming, the price was steep, and by the time Mini began making real improvements, brands like Hyundai, Tesla, and even Chevrolet had already captured consumer attention. The Mini Electric became a footnote, a missed opportunity that further underscored the brand's hesitation and half measures. Sales numbers reflect this slow unraveling. In the United States, Mini sales have declined by more than 35% over the past 5 years. While Bayerische Motorenwerke continues to support the brand in Europe, where smaller vehicles still hold more appeal, the American market has all but turned its back. And with shrinking dealership footprints and limited marketing investment, it's hard to imagine a sudden rebound on the horizon. Dealerships, too, are feeling the strain. Mini's inventory stagnates on lots across the country. Many dealers have begun merging mini showrooms into larger bayerische Motorenwerke locations, or dropping the brand altogether. The energy and enthusiasm that once marked mini dealerships, custom color options, playful design themes, boutique merchandise, has largely disappeared. The brand's messaging hasn't helped either. Mini's advertising once leaned heavily on its quirky, defiant identity. It celebrated being different. But recent campaigns have struggled to define a clear value proposition. Is Mini premium? Is it practical? Is it sporty? The answer often seems to be kind of, which is not good enough in a market flooded with exceptional vehicles that know exactly what they stand for. And that's the tragic irony. Mini tried to become more things to more people, and in the process, it became nothing special to anyone. It abandoned its strengths and identity in pursuit of broader appeal and premium profit margins, only to alienate both its core fans and potential newcomers. But even Mini's missteps look minor compared to this final brand, a company that many don't even realize still exists. Mitsubishi, ghosting the market in real time. It used to be a household name, not just in the United States, but across the globe. Mitsubishi was the scrappy underdog that built its reputation on performance, reliability, and some of the most iconic rally cars the world had ever seen. Fast forward to today, and it is like Mitsubishi barely exists. Ask the average American driver under the age of 30 if they have ever even seen a Mitsubishi dealership, and you might get a blank stare. That is not just a perception problem, it is a reality. In the year 2024, Mitsubishi held less than 1% of total market share in the United States. To put that in perspective, even niche luxury brands with tiny lineups are outselling Mitsubishi by tens of thousands of units annually. This is a brand that has become a ghost in real time, fading out of relevance while the rest of the industry speeds ahead. So what happened? The collapse was not sudden, it was slow. A death by 1,000 cuts. For years, Mitsubishi failed to reinvest in itself. It coasted on aging platforms, rebadged models, and shallow facelifts, while competitors sprinted toward electric innovation, safety tech, and digital integration. While Toyota, Hyundai, and Ford were reshaping their lineups around driver assist systems, hybrid powertrains, and app-based ecosystems, Mitsubishi kept churning out vehicles that felt a decade behind, because in many ways, they were. Let us talk about the lineup, or what is left of it. The Outlander is the company's last remaining bright spot. Its plug-in hybrid version gained some modest praise for affordability and mileage, but it is still lagging far behind in performance, cabin quality, and long-term reliability. Meanwhile, the Mirage and Mirage G4, once budget go-tos for first-time buyers, have become synonymous with low quality and cheap build materials. Critics have called them penalty boxes on wheels. That is not a great reputation when you're trying to hold on to your last slice of the economy car market. And do not forget about dealership presence. Mitsubishi's retail footprint in the United States has shrunk dramatically. Dealerships are closing at an alarming rate. In some states, you would be hard-pressed to find a Mitsubishi dealer within a 100-mile radius. That creates a huge trust gap with buyers. Nobody wants to buy a car if they are not sure where they can service it. This lack of infrastructure alone has scared off thousands of potential buyers who might have considered the brand based on price alone. Speaking of price, Mitsubishi used to own the value lane. Their cars were cheap, yes, but they were also considered reliable and no-nonsense. Now, that price advantage has eroded. Brands like Hyundai and Kia have not only matched Mitsubishi on cost, they have blown it away on tech, design, warranty coverage, and dealership experience. Even the base models from competitors now come with touchscreen infotainment, lane keep assist, and wireless Apple CarPlay. Meanwhile, Mitsubishi struggles to deliver that level of polish even in its top trims. Let us not forget Mitsubishi's failure to adapt to global trends. While rivals invested billions into battery electric vehicles, autonomous tech, and connected ecosystems, Mitsubishi barely moved. They relied heavily on shared platforms with Nissan and Renault, producing uninspired models with minimal differentiation. There was no bold design language, no vision, no excitement. The Lancer evolution was discontinued in the year 2016, and Mitsubishi never filled that void. No sports car, no halo product. Nothing that said, "This is the Mitsubishi of the future." The brand's messaging, or lack thereof, has only deepened its identity crisis. Who is Mitsubishi for now? Performance drivers? Definitely not. Budget-conscious families? Maybe, but only if they cannot find a better deal from Toyota or Honda. Tech-savvy buyers? Not even close. The brand has no niche left. And in today's brutally competitive market, if you are not dominating at least one lane, you are roadkill. There have been whispers about Mitsubishi partnering with larger automakers or shifting into a specialty role under the Nissan-Renault alliance. But unless that strategy comes with deep pockets and a full-scale reinvention, it is hard to see how that saves the brand, especially in the United States. American buyers are not just walking away, they are forgetting the brand existed in the first place. And that is the ultimate red flag, because it is one thing to be disliked, it is another to be forgotten. Mitsubishi has become invisible, and in the automotive industry, invisibility is the final stage before the curtain falls. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more no-nonsense deep dives. We've got plenty more coming, and trust us, you won't want to miss what's next.